Well, hello everybody. This is Sean with Reviews for You, and kind of doing something a little bit different today. This is my 1986 Toyota pickup. I've owned it about 8 years, and I am the second owner. I bought it from the original owner, who bought it brand new in 1986 from the Toyota dealership in Dallas, Texas. I believe he said he paid about $5,200 for it. I bought it from him in 2016, I believe, for $4,000. And it is a great truck. Have a lot of people just about everywhere I go ask me if I'll sell it to them. Of course, I'm not gonna ever sell it because they're just too hard to find. But this little truck has been nothing but good, and it is wore out. It's got, I'm guessing, about 300,000 miles on it. The speed or the mileage counter stopped at about 260,000 about 4 years ago. And I make about a 25-mile trip to work, every day. So I'll put about 50 miles a day on it. But it is the 22R, and it doesn't leak a drop of oil. Doesn't burn oil, starts on a dime, and just does good. It just runs good. Our neighbor's got a mare out there somewhere tied up. I see her. See if I can zoom in and let you guys see if you can catch her. She's right, well, she's up in there. It's hard to see. Anyway, what I was saying, this is gonna be a little bit of a different video because I had to have my brakes redone. I was coming home from work a few weeks ago, and well, about 6 months ago actually, and went to stop at a stop sign, and the brakes just went to the floor, and ended up being a rupture in my main brake line, right, hard to see, but right up in there, behind this part of the frame. The brake lines run, and it ruptured right up in there, and it was just dripping kind of right down here. So my son and I, we took the whole bed of this truck off and took the fuel tank off, and I reran brake lines from the rear all the way to the front. And after I got them run, I put everything back on and took it to mechanic here in town. There's some of the old brake lines in the back, and he flared them and got everything going, and brakes are working great again. But during all that, what happened was this truck, if you let it sit, the windows stick. And I jumped in it after I got it back and went to roll it down, and it was kind of hard, and I put a little muscle into it and it popped. And as you can see now, I have something inside here broke. Now my driver's side door sort of did the same thing a few years ago. So what this video is I'm about to pull this door panel off and just see what broke, and see if I need to order a whole new mechanism or if it just come unglued from the bottom of the glass. As you can see, I had to tape my glass up because it had a good chance of rain a few days ago. So anyway, it's Saturday afternoon, and it's not quite 100 degrees yet. It's about 85, but it'll be 90 in a couple hours. So I'm gonna just see if I can get this thing apart and figure out what's going on. So anyway, stay tuned. Okay, to get the door panel off, the first thing you do is you want to pull this little piece off. And you got to remember here that this truck is really old. So this piece, as you can tell, so you want to be real careful. If you're going to pull these things apart, you've got to finesse this stuff because it will break. And I don't know that you can find this stuff on eBay. You probably can. I've got a buddy who does 3D printing, and I'm wondering if I could give him this, if he could 3D print this for me. once you get that off, then you got to eventually pop these off, and it's not too bad. You got to push this in and get a flathead screwdriver and pop the little pin off. It kind of slides down like a, well, I can't think of what it's called, but like a cotter key type pin, and then you can pull this off, and you got these screws along the bottom. And then once you pull this off, you got to take this handrail, this handhold off right here. And once you get all that off, these side pieces, they kind of just pop into the door. And then when you pull this, towards you, you're gonna pick this straight up and slide it straight out. And it'll just slide right over the top of this. It seems like this little plastic piece might pop off, but we'll look at that here in just a second. All right, we got that off. All the screws are out. And now this thing, it is tough to get off. It is hard to get back there, so we'll do that in a minute. But I wanted to show you how these on the side pop. As you can see, they just, stick in there. So take you a flathead screwdriver and you just kind of pop them. And then you can see this whole thing. And like I said, you want to be real careful because Toyota is probably one of the best built trucks in the world. And I know that these 80 models are built like none other. There's not a truck on the planet quite like an 80 model Toyota, but this plastic, the sun can only, it can only handle so much. So I'm gonna work on getting this off, and then we'll pull this thing off and see what's going on inside here. Okay, we got it off. This is what this looks like. And it slides down in a sleeve down in there. And I could not get this off with the flathead screwdriver because the handle, it just couldn't get it in there. So we have the infamous junk drawer that everybody has. It's just full of junk. And I actually went and found this old curtain rod support, and it gave me the ability to just slide it right on down in there. And all I did, this was actually up, and I just slid the curtain rod just right on the top, and it ping, it popped out. So thankfully I didn't lose it. And this handle dubs also as a screw holder, just FYI. So I'm gonna put all this back here, and see about pulling this. That just slides right off, no problem. Same thing on this side, flathead screwdriver, just kind of work it. You'll hear it pop. That's what you want to hear is a pop. Okay. Now, this part up here, it is, there we go, difficult to do. So what I'm about to do, I'm gonna just put the phone down and I'll pick it back up once I get this off and explain how I got it off. Okay, I've got this off. Now, I want to give you some good advice. This is the rubber that went across there. Now, take this off first. It just slides right out. Once it's off, it reveals, of course, we had the whole thing hanging here. You see these grooves? Those grooves have clips. Those clips are made onto your, right here, one, and they're actually made onto this. And this thing, like I said, is old. So if you just pull up and get frustrated and pull, you're gonna tear this material. So what I did, it worked great. This bottom part was loose. I flipped it all the way up to where I could see the bottom and just popped those clips out with the flathead screwdriver. and it came right out. And this is never, as you can tell, this is factory, and I don't like messing with factory, but I don't have a choice. We've got to see what's going on in here. So we're going to be pulling all this plastic off, and the chances of me reusing it, it's just not going to happen. So I'm just going to have to get it off there. It's like you could put a little speaker there if you wanted to. So anyway, I'll be back. All right, so put your little handle back on, and you can see that this is working as it should. So what happened was that window, just due to the heat, stuck inside the rubber. And when I went to roll it down, I pulled the window out of this track. So all I've got to do is loosen these screws, and there's more. You have to kind of line this up with these holes. See, there's one. I think it's just those two. So you would get this one down to here, and then they cut this hole so you can actually get to a certain spot where you can line that up. You've got to loosen those, and I'm going to run a bead of silicone all the way through there the best that I can. I'm going to go ahead and grease and oil all this while I've got it. I'll untape that window and slide it down inside this door panel, place it back in there, and let it sit. I'll probably roll it up and let it sit. And then I'm not sure what I'm gonna do up here. I'm gonna see if I can buy, I don't know, maybe some spray or something to spray inside that rubber channel, so that with this heat, I think it expands that rubber, and it just grabs a hold to that window, and it is very hard to get off. But anyway, I'll get that in there, and then we'll continue on. All right, just a quick update. I went ahead and just took the whole thing off. It was really easy. Here it is. It just sits in there like this, and you can stick your whole arm in there, and I just took the screws out. That way I can maybe clean this up, and I'm gonna run a bead of silicone down there, so when I put the glass back in and let it dry, I don't think it'll come back out. Okay, learning as I go. I ended up having to take this piece of trim off on the outside of the window that has some 1, 2, 3. So I had to take the whole piece of glass out. Here's that piece of trim. You see I'm missing one. I've only got 2. And that's that outside piece. And I can tell you, you got to be super careful, because this thing is brittle. I will be using some silicone. Next, to put this track back on this piece of glass that I've got here, here's that piece of rubber. It is so tight, I cannot get it on. So I'm gonna go in the garage and widen this channel just a little bit, put it on there, and then I'm going to try to squeeze it back together with a pair of like a C-clamp, just enough to pinch it back on the glass without, you know, shattering the glass. So go see how that works. I've tried with that rubber mallet to tap this on there, and it just will not. I mean, I can't get it on there for nothing. So I'm gonna try to widen that up a little bit. Okay, widening it didn't work, so I actually just put some Vaseline on that rubber. Actually, it was liquefied coconut oil, which is super slippery. I put this piece of glass out here in the grass. I took my rubber mallet and I just tapped it very slow. It's not quite center, but there is some rubber sticking out on both ends. However, I don't think it's in the right spot. I think it's going to have to slide that way. So the only way to find out is to put this piece of glass back in the door and see if they line up, and take it out and try to slide it down a little bit. So we'll see what happens. All right, so I got my glass in there, and it's like a transformer. You really got to drop the inside almost vertical and come from the outside. Do not try to be on the inside of the door. It won't work. Come from the outside, drop that side in just about straight, and then you can pull this side around. But if you look, that hole is almost lined up. So I'm gonna try to get a screw in there and then get one in there and just see how well it rolls up. We'll see what happens. Okay, I got it in, but I'm noticing the gap as I roll it down. Notice when I roll it up, the gap gets closer. Well, that's really not right. It should follow true all the way down the door. I don't know why I'm out of focus here. All the way down the door to inside. So I'm gonna take it off, and I'm gonna tap this thing this way, probably about a full inch. That way the glass will slide this way, and then I'm gonna try to put it back in there. We'll see if that fixes it. Real quick tip. I took the screw out, slid the glass over, lowered it, and put me a little mark here on the glass. So I need to slide that hole in line with that glass, or excuse me, with that mark. And that is made by this here chalk that I talk about in my review on the Lock B Venture Pouch. It really is good for marking on anything. Anyway, so I'm gonna pull that off and try to get that slid down that far and put it back in here. All right, I got that lined up. The glass is inside there, and let's just kind of see. I did not put this screw in yet. I'm gonna roll it up slow. It just popped out. So, like I say, but that could be because that head screw's not in. So I'm gonna stop before I break my glass and put that other screw in and try it. Okay, most important part of the whole video, to save you guys all sorts of headache. All this moving around, it's maybe not necessary, because I just realized that this whole piece slides, and it's hard to do it, but you can slide it to line it up with that hole. And what I was failing to do, this right here is the track, and the glass, the whole time earlier when I was trying to adjust this, I did not have this glass in the front in this track. It was behind it, and I'm sorry. So anyway, when you put that glass in and you turn it down and bring it all the way in, level it back out, come over here and push the glass as far towards this end of the door as you can to get it in there. Lower this down as low as you can get it to still be able to see right here. And then once the glass is in this channel and in the channel right back up in there, it's hard to see, then it'll just sit right here. And if those holes are a little bit off, maybe, I don't know how much this slides, maybe a ½ inch in either direction, you can literally slide this one way or the other to line that hole up. That way, as you're rolling the window up, that's able to slide a little bit so that glass can move as it needs to. So I'm about to put those back in. I'm gonna put some grease and oil in here, and hopefully this video will help somebody that runs into this problem. As I'm learning, you're learning. Reviews for you. All right, this thing is smooth all the way down, all the way up. Now the last thing I'm going to work on is this. If you're sitting inside the door and you pull the door release lever, you can't open the door. So it's like it's not pulling far enough. So I'm going to see if there's a way to adjust it. Now if you come to the outside, it opens no problem. You just pull it and open. So anyway, I'm going to see if I can figure out what may be causing that, and then we'll get everything back together. Okay, I think I fixed it. I noticed here that if you shut the door and it latched, whenever you would pull this, you'd pull it all the way and it would not make that flip up. And I noticed if you pulled on the outside handle, it did. So all I did was I realized that this line, when I would pull this open, it wasn't pulling far enough. So I just simply put another bend in it. I just took a pair of pliers, twist it down just to shorten it. And now when you pull it, if you can see it, it opens. So anyway, quick fix. Phone battery's about to be dead. So now it's just putting everything back exactly how you took it off, making sure all the clips go in, everything's tight, all the screws back on. And like I said, be very careful, because everything about these old trucks are they're brittle, and it is hard to find replacement parts. So anyway, I really hope this helped you out. If you ever run across an 80 model Toyota, especially an old 4-wheel drive, man, they're indestructible. This truck is a great truck. It's my work truck. I drive it every day. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. So you guys take care. This is Sean with Reviews for You, and I hope you enjoy this video. Let me know in the comments, and if you happen to have an old 80 model Toyota and just want to comment about it, go ahead, and we'll see you on the next one. Any questions, please ask in the comments, and I'll do my best to help you out. Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, I thought I was through, but I just wanted to show the final picture here. Everything's back on as it should. Door, window rolls up as it should. I did have a little trouble over here. I know this doesn't look good, but that piece, remember, only had 2 clips. So I had to I just ran some white silicone all the way down that and stuck it in. And if you look at this old truck, the clear coat's peeling. It's coming off of it. The hood's looking rough. But there will come a day when I will have my video of this truck completely restored. And hopefully in the next couple years, I'll be able to put this thing and just strip it all the way down, sand it, fix all the body work, paint it, redo the interior, put the carpet back in it. And I'd like to put a 3-inch lift on it and put some 33s on it. And I have sure enough nice truck then. All right, so this is the last time. Reviews for You. This is Sean. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and subscribe, and I'll have more for you. Thank you. Goodbye.